reasons we live down here besides the food and music and architecture and history and the culture and the people. The weather. Don't forget the weather. We often overlook it. Oh, it rains a lot, Corey. It does. Rainiest part of the country, like Houston to Jacksonville, Orlando, Miami. A lot of rain. 60 inches of rain every year. 60 inches plus. But I've said this before, that Portland, Seattle, Vancouver part of the country, the great Northwest, they get 50% less rain than we get a year, and they get 60 less days of sunshine a year. They have 2 months less sunshine. They get cloudy, misty rain for days. We get a downpour, a deluge. We get some kind of overnight rain like we've had, and then we're going to have incredible weather. Some real spring weather, pre-summer weather, because we know what's coming, the inevitable, the heat and the humidity. So it's nice to get this little break, this wintry mix. Like right now, 60 degrees feels like 51. Tonight's going to be a nice, cool, crisp night. Dine outside. Go to Lebanon's Cafe. Open till 9:30. They're open right now. 11 a.m. to 9:30, straight through the day, 7 days a week. Lamb chops and shish kebab, your favorite Middle Eastern sides. Outdoor dining tonight at Lebanon's Cafe. Are you kidding? The city of New Orleans, the government, the mayor, the council, basically receiving a failing grade from the BGR, the Bureau of Governmental Research. The Cantrell administration, quote, lacks sound fiscal policy. You think? Geez, they just run up the credit card and go on vacation and stuff. You know, things we'd like to do. But, you know, then the credit card company calls, you know, every month back for some moolah. We'll find out why the BGR says the Cantrell administration lacks sound fiscal policy. Rebecca Mowbray, CEO, Bureau of Governmental Research, will join us in about 10 minutes on the program. No, the BGR is a great group. BGR is like different role, but in a similar category as the Office of Inspector General, the Metropolitan Crime Commission. These watchdogs, my God, do we need them? The folks that are critical of these watchdogs, those are the folks you have to look at closely. The folks that make fun or are critical or go on the warpath against these watchdogs. The Office of Inspector General, Ed Michel, doing a great job. A tenacious warrior for all New Orleanians, black, white, Republican, Democrat, going to bat for us, for the citizens. There was a group that wanted to oust him. One of these old school New Orleans political groups, some little fiefdom. They want to go full bore ahead, full steam ahead. BS jobs, BS contracts, nonsense, no oversight, raping and pillaging. No, thank God for Ed Michel. Thank God the ethics board, made up of 5 women, 3 white, 2 black, green-lighted Ed Michel. Gave him another 4 years. Thank God. You want to know what I worry about besides New Orleans cutting off its nose to spite its face and like not renewing the Ed Michel contract? Ed Michel himself burning out like Bob Sarasoli did. This New Orleans IG gig is tough. It's like being a meteorologist in New Orleans. It ain't like San Diego. Sunny, mild, great day. Start off in the 50s, go into the 70s. Just put that on a loop. No, it's a tough gig. Hey, the phone number, 766-9480. You can dial us up anytime. I've got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away in a few minutes. Latin X, a.k.a. Mario Brothers, at the controls, 766-9480. 766-9480. That blighted former naval base on Poland Avenue. I mean, conveniently located on the Mississippi River at the Industrial Waterway. I mean, that should be a coveted site. It finally looks like it's going to get green lighted. Maybe groundbreaking this summer. Maybe. Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe. $166 million project, nearly 300 apartments. We'll see. Wow, this is just sad. This goes in the just sad category. The state pauses work on Louisiana's largest ever coastal restoration project. Over $3 billion. We're already about $500 million into it. No, shame on these loud few. A few dozen oystermen in Plaquemine Parish, a few dozen fishermen who are beyond short-sighted. Beyond short-sighted. These guys are, it blows my mind. Like, I don't think hypocrisy is the right word, just short-sighted. They have a front row view of coastal erosion in South Louisiana, where their father, their grandfather, their great-grandfather's land is now open water. Yet they're worried about today's oysters and today's shrimp, today's fishing, where it's just going to get extended farther out. We're going to have more fresh water and then a farther out coastline of where the brackish starts and then the salt takes over. But they're used to that area. They don't want to have to go rediscover new leases. They're going to get compensated too. It's mind-blowing. There's like $300 million put aside to compensate these guys. No, but it's how it works in Louisiana. The needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. No, shame on these loud few. $3 billion project, just shutting it down. Sad. So there's something just fundamentally wrong with that. And this Gordon Dove guy and Governor Landry, they know better than 20 years of all this science and research and over and over and over again, and hurdles and obstacles to overcome, bureaucracy, Corps of Engineers, red tape. We overcome it all, green light, and now they're stopping it. Mind-blowing.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson across from Auction, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of the gutter, get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Uptown, Carrollton, Riverbend, Kirktown, Gentilly, Lakefront, West Bank, Lakeview. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
Welcome back, Crescent City. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday. Cool and crisp out there. And then things are going to be nice starting maybe later today, tomorrow for sure, all the way through this weekend into next week, which means this weekend's French Quarter Fest, Thursday through Sunday. 70 degrees every day, sunny every day, waking up to like 58, 59, 60 every morning, but then just creeping up to very, very easy to tolerate, kind of mid 70s every day and sunny. So French Quarter Fest is going to be a grand slam home run. The weather looks perfect. City of New Orleans government, the mayor, the council, not so great. As a matter of fact, the Bureau of Governmental Research says the Cantrell administration lacks sound fiscal policy. Rebecca Mowbray joins us. She's the CEO over at the Bureau of Governmental Research. How you doing, Rebecca?
Hey, I'm doing great, Corey. Thanks so much for having me on.
No, thanks so much for joining us. Are you kidding me? Thank you. Hey, what's the Bureau of Governmental Research do if someone asks you that?
So we are a nonprofit, nonpartisan research organization that we try to come up with ways to fix issues in local government in the New Orleans area, like Orleans, Jefferson, and St. Tammany parishes.
And what do you, is there any set agenda where we do X, Y, Z every year, or is it sort of as things, it's more fluid as things come along, you kind of pounce on those things to look into them?
No, we have a very robust research agenda that we tend to write reports about issues like how to pay for street maintenance or how to fix the sewage and water board and things like that. And then at election time, we do ballot reports when there are charter change proposals or proposed taxes to help figure out whether it's a good deal for citizens. And we also hold events to help citizens engage directly with policymakers and ask the questions they want to ask.
What made you guys look into the city of New Orleans and basically how it's run?
Great question. This was, we looked into kind of the finances and financial management and budgeting practices of the city of New Orleans, really because there was a change in the narrative so as you may recall, from during the pandemic, the federal government gave out lots of money to help make sure that local governments didn't go bankrupt and that they could keep delivering services to citizens and things. And so the city of New Orleans received a lot of money in these federal pandemic relief funds. And we at BGR had been tracking that. And really the story for the past few years in the public about the budget has been that the city's awash in cash and there's a lot of things that they can do. But this was the year that it seemed like things were that story was changing. And so we simply felt that it was a good idea to let the public know that the story is different now. So we started taking a look at the city's finances and more specifically the fund balance, which means the amount of money that exists in reserve in case that there's major hurricane or some sort of disaster like we had with BP in 2010 or the pandemic or things like that. The cash that is available if you need to fund government operations and in an emergency. And the reason why that matters, of course, to residents of the city of New Orleans is if there's some, major calamity that happens that interrupts the city's finances, you want to know that the city's got the money to keep delivering city services without having to come up with some special tax or fee, and that they can continue to afford, picking up the trash and running various systems and things like that. And so what we found when we looked into it this year is that the city used to basically have no money in reserve. And during the pandemic, they had a lot of money in reserve, but that money has started to be spent down, some of which has gone to reoccurring expenses. And it's projected, at least based on what the city's planning to spend this year, that for the first time since the pandemic, the city, the fund balance is going to go below the recommended minimum levels. And so we really felt like this was an important inflection point for the city to take stock of and to make sure that we still have a reasonable amount of money in reserve. And we also realized that there's just a lot of spending priorities for the city that aren't adequately funded right now. So it's kind of the combination that you don't want. And so we published this report to kind of call out attention to that in hopes that the city can fix it and enact some policies that we can talk about that will help make a difference. Because we're about to lose this. We've been in a terrific position the last couple of years. We could be on the cusp of losing that if we don't do something. And that would be a terrible thing for a new mayor or new council to inherit when somebody takes office next year.
Rebecca Mowbray is with us, CEO, Bureau of Governmental Research. Rebecca, we'll get Ed Michel on the program probably once a quarter, every few months, and he'll come up with, some audit investigation and a problem in city government, and then offers a solution on what that city entity could do better. Do you guys do the exact same things? Do you have a solution, recommendations, that kind of thing?
Yes. On this, we really feel like the city needs to engage in kind of some multi-year financial planning to anticipate new expenses and come up with funding strategies that account for potential fluctuation in revenues. We feel like there needs to be a formal policy to guide spending from the reserves because, right now, it's supposed to be a lot of money supposed to be set aside for emergencies, but there aren't really any criteria or definition of what that is. So they could just spend the money at any point if they felt like they needed to. And we've got some things about transparency to help the citizens to understand the size of reserves and various components of it, so they can hold city officials accountable. We feel like the city administration should come up with a comprehensive policy for using and preserving the general fund reserves, and the city council should adopt that by ordinance this year. We feel like they should come up with a 5-year financial plan that it would review each year during the public budget hearing process. And we discovered in our research that there is a major error in, calculating police overtime projections that means that this budget the current budget for 2025 is already behind. And we feel like the city should take a look at its processes for how it projects spending so that it can understand how that error occurred so they can avoid it in the future. And then the city should more transparently provide reports about the state of these general fund reserves to the public so that people can understand what's going on.
Rebecca Mowbray is with the CEO, Bureau of Governmental Research. Corey Johnson with you all the way till 6 o'clock. Rebecca, you mentioned the police and these overtime problems. I would imagine that's an entire city problem. You try to balance the budget with maybe unrealistic expenditures that you anticipate for that year, and knowing good well they're low. You're balancing the budget today, and you're just going to have a major deficit later in the year. Is that kind of what the NOPD with the overtime's doing?
Well, what we found is that last fall, when the budget was being put together, they didn't have adequate numbers about the cost of overtime. So, they weren't able to project appropriately the amount of money that they, first of all, to cover that expense last year, and then to appropriately budget for the cost of NOPD this year. So it's really there's going to be, what we found out was basically there's a $42 million hole in what they were projecting for NOPD spending. So It means that everything else in the budget this year is really behind.
Right.
And the fact that an error occurred of that magnitude really kind of made us question how that happened.
No, and does it happen across the board in a lot of other city entities? Rebecca Mowbray is with us with the Bureau of Governmental Research. Coming right back with more.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint. That's why.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Not a politician or part of a political machine. Corey Johnson.
I propose that I use what's left of the town treasury to move to a more prosperous town and run for mayor.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
I don't know if that plan would go over too well with Rebecca Mowbray and the folks over at the Bureau of Governmental Research. Rebecca, where can folks find this latest and greatest looking into the city finances, basically receiving a failing grade from you guys? Cantrell administration lacks sound fiscal policy. All these solutions about, having maybe a 5-year plan for finances, being more transparent so the government the citizens understand reserves. Where can everyone read this report, I guess, from you guys?
Sure. Thanks, Corey. Our website is BGR, Bureau of Governmental Research, bgr.org. And you can find it. It's right on the homepage. And there's a nice summary of everything that we're recommending. And we feel it's very important that this be fixed. I mean, there's been a lot of conversations around the city about the state of city services, and we're never going to be able to come up with a realistic budget that allows us to do things like pay for streets and maintain the streets after like all the construction projects around town are finished if we don't start doing that? And you can't plan for that. And there are all these, there are expenses that they haven't fully accounted for, whether it's the firefighters' pension or the new housing trust fund expenditures, the medical and mental health wing at the jail. There's a lot of things that are competition for money, and they've got to be planning really carefully to figure out how to cover those expenses and maintain this fund balance that we're so lucky to have had because of the pandemic.
You keep rattling off thing after thing after thing. It almost sounds as if the city's sort of flying by the seat of their pants financially.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, I know that there's always a lot of political pressure on people in the council and the administration about things, but we really do have this once in a lifetime opportunity that, you know, the city used to, there's a big chart in our report that you'll see that in the years after Katrina, we really had no money in reserve, like either very little or the fund balance was negative. And we finally have in this zone that's kind of what's recommended. And we're about to lose that if they don't come up with policies to figure out how to preserve it. And then at the same time, there's all these things that we don't even adequately cover right now.
Why is it one?
It's an issue.
Not to be redundant, but why is it once in a lifetime? Because we have a little reserve and we have to figure out how to keep it or sustain it?
Yeah. So the federal government gave us and every city, you know, all sorts of money to stay liquid during the pandemic because no one knew what was going to happen with tax receipts as and particularly here in a tourism-driven economy where, you know, people weren't coming to New Orleans as much as they used to be. This money that we got from the federal government was really important. And so it meant that we went from having, you know, basically no money in reserve in the years before the pandemic or very little to we had millions of dollars, and that has been being spent over the last couple of years. And there's nothing wrong with spending it, but our concern is that it wasn't spent according to some policy that would help guide spending and decisions about maybe what's, you know, how much to spend and how much put in a reserve. The money's not formally put into emergency reserves with rules about when you can tap it. And what's about to happen this year is that money in reserve has been spent down since 2022, and the projections are this year. Who knows if it'll actually happen this year or next year? But the important thing is, you know, the trends that we're looking at. That at some point in the not too distant future, we're going to fall below the recommended amount of reserves that the city has. And then the city's finances could start looking a lot more like it did in the years after Katrina. And that's not what we want.
Was that money supposed to be spent on like a one-time item, like something that's like that's sustainable for years that the public would enjoy, or was the money supposed to be to fill budget gaps, things that were reoccurring every year?
I mean, the city had a lot of discretion about how it could spend the money on things, and certainly it did make some one-time expenditures. It allowed this federal pandemic relief funding. It allowed the city to offset lost revenue, cover lots of money in new expenditures, and kind of shore up its depleted emergency reserves. We're not arguing with any specific spending decision, but there are things that have come up that will require recurring revenues. And, the years, it's a different story now. The years of the city being awash in cash and maybe the perception being that they could spend on everything. That's really over.
Do you guys go deeper than just, and I'm not being critical, I'm just curious. You're saying what the problem is and a solution of, these money, having this money in reserve and educating the public on it. Do you guys go further with like, hey, there's these agencies that you don't need. You could cut those, and that way you could, generate funds for the reserve, or because you mentioned earlier, like a lot of things aren't adequately funded. I'm assuming there's a lot of frivolous spending too.
So for the purposes of this report, we really just wanted to call out the idea that we are about to, our reserves are about to dip below these recommended levels, and that's not where you want to be. We did not really get into specifics about or trying to make judgments that the city should do this, not that. Like, that's the role of the council people to figure that out. But what we did notice is that there are things, that have been in the news or things that we've written about that just, they've got things that have to be funded, like the maintenance of the minor drainage system in New Orleans, and like keeping the catch basins clean so that the water can get into the drainage system and not be piling up on the streets. Well, that all got consolidated with the Sewage and Water Board this year. That's a good thing, and there was some money that came over there, but there's at least $11 million more that's going to be needed for that. And then the firefighters' pension, the city's got some expensive obligations with that, and there could be another $20 million a year in annual contributions that are needed for that.
Wow.
There's also voters passed last fall something that would create something called the Housing Trust Fund to go into housing affordability issues, and that's going to be about $17 million a year. And then there's a new medical wing that's being built at the Orleans Parish Jail. That's probably going to cost $4.4 million or so in to run that. And then there's the things that just have really never been properly funded, such as maintaining streets. We only pay a fraction of what is estimated to cost to keep up streets. And, right now there's been the massive $2.3 billion post-Katrina road repair going on. Well, if we don't start allocating like regular street maintenance money, those newly fixed roads are going to start getting messed up again. And then the city has typically not done a good job of maintaining the buildings that it owns. And you may remember last year, like the NOPD needed to leave its headquarters in Mid-City to rent space in a downtown office building because air conditioning and other things weren't working.
Mold, all kind of problems.
So there's all kinds of things that there's no shortage of expenses that we're not paying the full cost of running the city. And then we're about to, start getting below the minimum recommended levels in reserves. So the city's got some tough decisions to make about budgeting.
Hey, Rebecca, before we let you go, I know you guys don't endorse any mayoral candidates. Once you guys do what you just did, you're done with it and you move on. It would take like a media outlet to present it to the mayoral candidates and say, do you embrace this? You guys aren't going to approach any mayoral candidates and say, are you embracing our report, right?
Well, we do plan to, in 2017, we did a big questionnaire of the mayoral and council candidates, and we do plan to put together such a questionnaire this year about what we see as the major issues facing the city. And Yeah, one of the questions will certainly be about how would you handle city finances?
No, I like hearing that. Rebecca Mowbray, thank you so much. It's bgr.org, right? bgr.org. Corey Johnson with you, coming right back.
At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids, love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Producing tomorrow's talk radio today, Corey Johnson.
This is tomorrow's newspaper. Precisely. I already went further ahead into time to see what else happens.
Your View Louisiana. That's Cox Channel 4 in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette. And live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
Future. Unbelievable.
go to bgr.org, bgr.org, like Bureau of Governmental Research, and read their report. I think Rebecca Mowbray is professional and knows what she's doing and is nice. Wasn't going to say, yeah, the city's flying by the seat of their pants, but that's what I got out of that. And really making a mistake blowing through these reserves that could have been something you keep long term, always have there in case of inevitable problems that will pop up. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. I've got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. Yeah, you're right. I was talking last week about some celebrity types that have connections to the city, like Patricia Clarkson, the actor. Her connection in New Orleans. Born and raised on the West Bank. Her mom's Jackie Clarkson. Asked about John Goodman, his connection to the city. Married a local girl from like Homa. Fell in love with New Orleans on like a college visit. Pretty much has never left. Been here for like 40 years. 35 plus years. What's Bob Dylan's connection to New Orleans? 766-9480. What's Val Kilmer's connection to New Orleans? He just passed away last week. Too young, 65 years old. 766-9480. How about Nicolas Cage? He's kind of a strange cat. He's got a weird rep. Nicolas Cage, connection in New Orleans, 766-9480. How about Brad Pitt? His connection in New Orleans, 766-9480. Solange, is that it? Solange Knowles?
Close enough.
Beyonce's sister. What's her connection to New Orleans? You got the answer to any of these questions. I've got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations: Mid-City, New Orleans, Metairie near North Kenner, Mandeville, Slidell, Baton Rouge. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. Men's Final Four. How about men's final? Houston, Florida tonight. Yesterday, UConn ripping South Carolina. That was Dawn Staley's teams don't get ripped too often. And their first round game, I think they won by 4. Second round game, they won by like 4. Third round game, they just destroyed the opposition. It looked like, okay, they're focused now. And then UConn just ripped them. Wasn't even close. Brett Martell will join us in the 5 o'clock powwow. Nearly 30 years working for the Associated Press. Brett Martell will join us. Rebecca Mowbray just joined us from the GBR, Bureau, I should say, of Governmental Research, talking about New Orleans. The Cantrell administration lacks sound fiscal policy. Looking for like a 5-year financial plan. That blighted former naval base on Poland Avenue. Looks like finally the green light. Loans coming through the whole 9 yards. Maybe like $166 million deal. Nearly 300 apartments. Yeah, got to get that back into commerce. It's sinful how the Landrieu administration and the Cantrell administration let it go right into blighted property. Could have been a place for NOPD, could have been a place for city workers, all kind of stuff. Went from climate controlled, kind of class B to C office space to blighted property in about 5 or 6 years. Just sinful. Let's hit the phone lines. 766-9480. 766-9480. Rob is in New Orleans.
Yeah, Corey, I want to make a few comments. This is going back to something you said last week. You were talking about the tariffs and you didn't understand them. one thing about Trump is there are several things that he did say in his campaign that he delivered on, and then people acted like it was crazy. Now, some of it he didn't. Like he gave a 10-minute speech about Arnold Palmer's penis, but did not talk about invading Greenland or changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico. But he did say that he was going to impose these tariffs. And he did, and then people are freaking out. And every informed person said it is going to tank the economy. I'll give you another example of this. He said he was going to pardon the January 6th rioters. The National Police Union endorsed Trump. And then when Trump immediately on day one, as he said he was going to do, pardoned all 1,500,
Rob, I mean, generally speaking, you're right, but like the tariffs to the extent much more than anyone thought. The January 6th, he promised to individually look at each case and release. He released everybody, just true. Blanket. So both things, what was, I think, the average Trump supporter and voter assumed, and any rational person would never have thought it would have gone to this level with the tariffs. And I think the blanket release of all these January 6th
Great point. So that's last week. I just want to comment on something you were just talking about before your wonderful guest came on. When you were talking about the diversion project and how that's being scuttled for politics, you were talking about a few shrimpers and fishermen. I think the real blame lies at the politicians, because, as you said, the needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many. Jeff Landry and also Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser has been, pandering to these.
No,
people.
You're right.
I mean, listen, they're trying to make a living. I think it's really the governor and the lieutenant governor.
No, I think that's a fair point. Governor, lieutenant governor, the Dove guy, and the squeaky wheels, the Plaquemine Parish politicians. I'll bet you the majority of Plaquemine Parish residents are for that mid-Barataria diversion. 5 o'clock powwow
You're
next.
On the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of the time.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, WoodhouseSpas.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Thanks so much for joining us. A lot of Trump supporters out there, the MAGA crew. Some people say cult-like. Very, very hard to get those folks off of Donald Trump. There's talk of, well, you could walk in the bedroom and Donald Trump's in bed with your wife. And you'd say, I probably wasn't attending to her enough. And it's an honor that Donald Trump was the one that, committed adultery with my wife. So that's all good. I even took it further, and I'm not going to get into gross details, but Donald Trump could basically, and you would say, my wife needed that in her hair. That she needed that in her hair, and you figure out what that is and what Donald Trump did. I'm just saying, it's almost like he said, I could shoot someone on Madison Avenue and get away with it, and that's almost the case. But maybe there's finally a way to make a diehard Trump supporter, Mr. or Mrs. MAGA, go against the president. You know what that is, Latinx, a.k.a. Mario Brothers? Take their money away. Take their money away. Have the stock market do what it's doing the last few days? These folks all of a sudden are questioning Donald Trump and these tariffs and all of that. And they're hoping and praying that the impulsive president, who as quickly as he has, by implementing these tariffs, he'll take them away. And the stock market would probably take off like a rocket ship if he did that. And this president, there could be a deal where I'm dealing with Mario Brothers, and it's a 20% tariff, and I raised it to 50%, And then we negotiated. And at the end, Mario went up one to 21% tariff. And it was a victory. It was all worth it, and it was a victory. No matter if it is a victory or not, it could be a blatant loss. And Donald Trump will say it's a victory. But all people are hoping for, the stock market goes back up. And I think as long as Donald Trump keeps doubling down on these tariffs and, wait it out and it's going to be okay. Wait it out how long until it's okay? You don't know if this plan's going to work or not. This is a global thing that's way beyond just you working deals and manipulating deals. When someone like Donald Trump, anyone like Donald Trump's working a deal, they're the one with the money. If they don't have to have something or need something, then they're going to sit back and wait for the person that has to have it or need it to come and get something they have, and they're going to juice it as much as they can. They're going to be in charge. It's sort of like not a good deal for both sides, like a good deal for one side and maybe a desperate deal for the other side. That's how Donald Trump operates in the real world and has made billions doing it. Be critical of it, praise it, view it however you like. But in the real world, with world economies, different countries, it's there's no way for him to monopolize the situation. There's no way for him to dictate policy to the rest of the world. This is just a big roll of the dice, a big crapshoot. No one knows. But there are politicians. Trust in Trump. Trust in Trump. I just like to see the group of advisors that are backing this tariff plan. Or is this just Donald Trump all by himself, his wisdom, his thinking, him saying we're going to go with this? Or is it a bunch of people advising him? But anyway, how do you make diehard Trump supporters, Mr. and Mrs. MAGA, go against the president, take their money away, crush their stock portfolio? And right now, that's exactly what's happening. I've got MAGA friends that love Donald Trump. They're like, when he won the election over Kamala Harris, the next 3 days, their stocks took off. Their net worth increased dramatically. And now the opposite is happening. The opposite. 60 degrees, feels like 50 right now in New Orleans. Breezy, cool to really cold out there. You definitely need a sweater or a jacket. You can't go outside in shorts and a t-shirt. Ain't going to work. Incredible weather starting tomorrow through like the middle of next week, which is huge for us locally, not only because we got a great week and a half of weather, because it surrounds French Quarter Fest. The few days leading up to French Quarter Fest are going to be perfect. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 4 days of French Quarter Fest, 70s and sunny. Yeah, you right. Fantastic weather. 70s and sunny expected every day of French Quarter Fest. Could be a record breaker. Boy, a lot going on. Rebecca Mowbray joined us, the CEO of the Bureau of Governmental Research, last hour. The city of New Orleans, the mayor, the city council, basically receiving a failing grade from the BGR. Cantrell administration, quote, lacks sound fiscal policy. The city's blowing through their reserves. They're spending it on reoccurring expenses. They don't have any kind of solution. The BGR does a 5-year financial plan. Multi-year financial planning and transparency, explaining to the citizens, the mayor, the council, how important these reserves are that the city's blowing through. You can go to bgr.org, the letters BGR like governmental, or excuse me, Bureau of Governmental Research. Just Bureau Governmental Research. BGR.org. And read the report. No, the city financially just sort of flies by the seat of their pants. 766-9480. Kind of like Latinx Mario Brothers at the controls. After every show almost. Dude, can I borrow $50? Meeting friends down at Rick's. Do you have it in ones? I'm like, what do I look like, dude? A cash register? I'll hand him $50 and never pays me back. And then just tells me the next day fantastic stories from his exploits at Rick's Cabaret in the VIP room.
Yeah, do a lot of damage for $50.
Yeah, you can't do much damage for $50. So that doesn't get you anything.
Nah, not there.
Supposedly the strippers, Mario, I think neither one of us frequents the strip joints. I never go. I'm sure you're the same way. From what I understand, the strippers are like, I'll get you a drink, honey. And you're like, what do you want? You get, Stolian 7, whatever. They're like, I'm drinking a double Crown or whatever. And that no Crown is poured. And they're just drinking a Coke, or something that's brown, doesn't have alcohol. Yet the strip joints are charging you for the double Crown and Coke, and at about, $20 a shot. So it's like a $44 drink on your tab. And I think the ATM charges, somebody's going to go, Corey must go to the strip joints. Look, I don't do cocaine, but I know people do lines of cocaine. So I guess he knows it's a line. No, I don't do cocaine. Sorry. No, I don't go to strip joints. I hear the ATM charges are like $20, something like that.
Yes, pushing double digits easily.
Isn't that crazy? Yes. Like you go to the ATM, you're like, it makes you want to pull 500 out because you're getting charged 20. You're not pulling out $60 and you're getting a $20 ATM charge.
Oh, yeah. You're not hitting that thing twice, even before that.
Cigars, everything. Sort of like it's weird. You enter the strip joint and prices just escalate tremendously.
And then you got to tip the guy in the bathroom, too.
Wow. Oh, there's like an expert in the bathroom?
Yes.
Mario, you sound like you do know the strip joints a little bit.
I wouldn't say I frequent, but it's not like I've never been.
Yeah. Well, when's the last time you've been? Within the last few years?
Yeah, my 30th birthday was in August, so yeah.
Oh, wow. That's what you did on your 30th birthday? Went to the strip joint?
One of many things, yes.
Wow, one of many things. We don't want to know what the many things that happened at the strip joint, especially with tipping the bathroom guy and all that nonsense. Jeez. Yeah, the last time I've been to a strip joint.
I said it, so you got to say it.
Wow. No, I was married because it was a bachelor party for one of me and my wife's friends, my then wife, he was getting married 15 years ago, maybe 30 minutes in the strip joint.
All right.
I just sat around and didn't take the table dance or go off with, they're all tugging on you, want you pulling on your arm. Come over here. I'll do a private dance. Like, no.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to quickly say tugging on your arm, and we're just gonna keep going. Tugging on you is probably not the best thing to say about strip joints in general. But no, I used to have some friends, Mario, that just literally would be like pissed off the next day, and I'd be like, "Why are you so mad?" See them at work early in the morning. They'd be like, I dropped X amount of money last night at the strip joint. Some would be hundreds, some would be thousands of dollars, and I just like, my God. Unbelievable. All for Crystal and Onyx.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeVar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com. New Orleans talk giant Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
I'll have the entire city of New Orleans in the palm of my hand.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM. Also from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida on 600 AM and 1560.
60 degrees, feels like 50 degrees out there. Overcast, windy, breezy, cool, bordering on cold out there. You definitely need like a sweater or a jacket. No shorts and a t-shirt, that's for sure. Tomorrow, we wake up to about 52 degrees. And then we get up to about 69. So it'll be a little warmer tomorrow. Pretty much all week. Starting tomorrow through like mid next week. Lots of 60s and 70s, including for French Quarter Fest. Yeah, you're right. With this kind of weather, outdoor dining. Get to Katie's tonight in Mid-City. They literally have tables going around the block. Down Iberville, down Talamacas. They're a mid-city mainstay, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Great drinks at the bar, then fade on over and grab a table. They'll take care of you. Big portions, great for sharing. New Orleans specialties. Outdoor dining on a night like this. Katie's in Mid-City, as New Orleans as it gets. Yeah, fired up for French Quarter Fest. Maybe the country's largest free festival. There's no gates. There's no tickets. All you pay for is what you eat and drink at French Quarter Fest. And they're expecting, like, on average, at least, on average, I'm sure on the weekend it's larger, but on average about 200,000 plus a day on average. So Saturday and Sunday, you're probably getting about 250,000 folks each day. Saturday and Sunday, like 250,000 people coming and going for French Quarter Fest on Saturday and Sunday, and a good 150,000 on Thursday and Friday. Literally averaging north of 200,000 a day. 900,000 folks over 4 days, like larger crowds than 8 days of Jazz Fest. French Quarter Fest starts this Thursday. How do you make a diehard Trump supporter, Mr. or Mrs. MAGA, go against the president? Pop them in the wallet, in the pocketbook. The stock market decline is devastating. Probably, any gains anyone made when Trump got elected have all been negated and now going below that. A lot of folks that the stock market took off when Trump beat Harris that night. The next day, the stock market took off. And for about 3 days in a row, it wasn't record days every day, but it was huge days each day. Folks saw their stock portfolio grow dramatically when Trump won the election. These tariffs have crushed it. Some are saying the single largest kind of deliberate attack on the stock market. Like, there wasn't a pandemic. There wasn't a war. The country wasn't getting attacked. We weren't attacking anyone. There was nothing that caused it except the president implementing these tariffs that directly caused the stock market to tank. So that's how a diehard MAGA Trump supporter might go against the president, getting clocked in their pocketbook. This trust in Trump, and that all doesn't mean a whole lot when your stock portfolio is getting smashed. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Hey, I've got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. I think these questions are pretty easy. Connections to New Orleans, celebrities, folks that are kind of known. Patricia Clarkson, the actor. She's a West Bank girl. Her mother was Jackie Clarkson, the city council person. John Goodman. How's he have a connection to New Orleans? Married a local girl from Houma. Fell in love with the city when he came down with some buddies from college during spring break. He's been here like 35 plus years. An official New Orleanian, not a native, but hell, he's more native than some natives. So Patricia Clarkson, John Goodman, we got the answers there. They picked up 50 big bucks. I think it was Brenda and Chuck picking up 50 big bucks. You can do the same. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. What is Bob Dylan's connection to New Orleans? 766-9480. Val Kilmer passing away last week, way too young, 65 years old. What was Val Kilmer's connection to New Orleans? What was Nicolas Cage's connection to New Orleans? How about Brad Pitt? What's his connection to New Orleans? Beyonce's sister's connection to New Orleans. You got the answer to any of those questions? I got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. You can find out more, woodhousespas.com. Woodhousespas.com. 5 area Woodhouse locations, Mid-City, New Orleans, Metairie near North Kenner, Mandeville, Slidell, Baton Rouge. Woodhousespas.com. Latinx, a.k.a. Mario Brothers, fielding your phone calls. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 504 is the area code. 766-9480. 766-9480. GQ on the North Shore says, I think Goodman's old lady's from Bogalusa. That might be right. I thought it was Houma, but it might be Bogalusa. I thought it was Houma. You might be right, GQ on the North Shore. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Yep, looking for these famous people, celebrity types. Bob Dylan's connection to New Orleans, or Val Kilmer, or Nicolas Cage, or Brad Pitt, or Beyonce's sister. You got answers? I got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. 766-9480. Tonight, Houston and Florida national championship game. Yesterday, boy, UConn just crushing Dawn Staley's South Carolina team. That was shocking. Pretty surprising. I will say this. I mean, all that does is just light Dawn Staley's fuse. She's just ticked off now. She'll coach harder. She'll hit the recruiting trail harder. South Carolina's not going anywhere. But you got to love Kim Mulkey and LSU, because they're going to give South Carolina not only a run for their money in the SEC each and every season, but in the tournament as well. That's what kind of sucks, Mario. Like, Florida knocking off Auburn, Florida and Auburn might be the best 2 teams in college basketball. Who knows?
Yeah, SEC is strong.
Yeah, they had 14 in the tournament, right, of the 64? Mm-hmm. 14.
Yeah.
Most ever.
Every team except LSU and Carolina.
Ouch. Houston and Florida tonight for all the marbles. Brett Martell's going to join us in about 10 minutes. Another Martell Monday. Hey, every day this show on radio, television, and YouTube brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. I mean, if you're thinking of like a Ford Explorer, an F-150, why would you go to any other Ford dealership but Lamarck Ford in Kenner? They got what you want. Inventory, price, service, everything's there. The Lamarck Automotive Complex. Lamarck Ford, the big store for over 45 years. Lamarck Lincoln, number 1 in Louisiana. And Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. The blighted former naval base on Poland Avenue. I mean, a hell of a location. Industrial waterway at the Mississippi River. I mean, how they aren't building something with, boat access where you can get to the lake, the river, the Gulf, all over. It's just mind-blowing. That seems like a really potentially high-end corner. Anyway, about $166 million project, about 300 apartments. Seems like it should be hundreds of millions of dollars. Some live, work, play, kind of, that type of thing. All in one spot. Let's go to the phone lines. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Wes joins us in New Orleans. What up, Wes?
Hey. How you doing today?
Good, Wes. Is Wes short for Wesleyan?
No, just Wes.
W-E-S. That's what it says on the birth certificate.
That's it.
Wes. I like it. No T, right? Just W-E-S.
No. W-E-S. And that's all.
All right. What's going on, Wes?
Hey, I wanted to give you an answer about Val Kilmer, because I can remember when he reigned over Bacchus, 2009.
Nice. Well, it was 2009. He was king of Bacchus.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I knew it was around there, 2009, 2010, something like that. Wes, you are correct.
Yeah, you're right. Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for her, Johnny?
Was he in the Deja Vu movie with Denzel Washington?
I'm sorry, I missed that one. Could you tell me that one again?
That Deja Vu movie post Katrina with Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in that?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so there's another little New Orleans connection. Hey, don't go anywhere. Coming right back. Don't go anywhere, Wes. Going to get some info from you and tighten you up with that gift card. Corey Johnson.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latram.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King. Hey, New Orleans, if you've ever wanted to experience life on St. Charles Avenue, now is your chance. The Grand Victorian, the ultimate bed and breakfast in the Garden District on the streetcar line. Built in 1893, this magnificent house will make your special weekend getaway special. To find out more, go to gvbb.com. That's gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian, where the locals go to get away.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building. Literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
New Orleans talk giant Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
I've got the entire city of New Orleans in the palm of my hand.
Every weekday afternoon on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333 from 4 p.m. to 5:30.
Yeah, you right. Welcome back, Crescent City. Corey Johnson back at you. Hey, you looking for a great place to check out tonight's national championship basketball game with like-minded fans having a good time, plus a place you can get food that you actually want to eat, a great dinner, like a sloppy roast beef po' boy. Tracy's Magazine at Pleasant in the Garden District, catty corner from that Bromart. Why don't you go check out Tracy's tonight? Magazine at Pleasant, between Washington and Louisiana. Looking for a spot to check out tonight's Houston, Florida National Championship game? Tracy's on Magazine. Too many flat screens to count, including a big 10-foot monster. Tracy's on Magazine. A little after 5:30. Time now for Brett Martell. Another Martell Monday. Brett's been with the Associated Press for nearly its entire existence. They've been around since like 1850. Brett's been with them for nearly 30 years. That's almost its entire time it's been around. You're old, Brett.
Yeah, 1846 is, I think, when you can first find an AP article.
Forget about that old, Brett.
So I guess that would be 180 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I have been around for most of that.
Brett Moses Martell's with us on the program. Hey, Brett, what's the big story in the world of sports? I mean, locally, is it just clearly the national title game, or is like Saints draft or something like that bigger than tonight's Houston, Florida? I'm going to go with the national title game, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think right now, I mean, all eyes would be focused on that. I mean, one team is an SEC team. The other team is 5 hours away in Houston. It's a mid-major. Tulane could easily be a similar type of team, although Tulane's private and Houston's public. But, Houston has a good basketball legacy or history.
Yep.
And, that has included Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, and so forth. And Houston's been to a number of Final Fours, but they've never won a national title. Florida's looking for its third. And first, since they went back-to-back about almost 20 years ago. Not quite, but almost. And these are two really good teams. They were obviously number one seeds, and any team, you'd be inclined to think that the Gators, being the best team out of the SEC, would be the favorite. But I mean, any team that beats Duke can't be overlooked. And Houston did that in very dramatic fashion, obviously, on Saturday night, with really just some clutch defense down the stretch that allowed them to come back and pull it out in the final minute. So, it's going to be a very compelling matchup, I think, and I suspect that that's what everyone would be focused on now. Then, obviously, transitioning to the PGA Tour stop here after the Masters.
Yep.
A couple of weeks after the Masters, which will be overlapping with the Saints draft. And of course, maybe before that happens, I mean, the Pelicans' regular season is going to end soon. It's going to end a week from yesterday. And then we'll have to see if there's some major reshuffling going on, be it in the front office or coaching staff. But you get the sense that the organization, at least on the business side, is feeling a sense of urgency to get the fan base re-engaged, and not believe that it's, when they're trying to sell season tickets for next season, that fans are going to be worried about the same old that they've been dealing with, the disappointments for the last 6 years or so.
Yep. Brett Martell's with us from the Associated Press. I want to talk about that in a second. Real quick, Brett, before we move on from tonight's college basketball national championship game. 14 SEC teams in the tournament, most ever. SEC was pretty dominant. 2 teams in the Final Four. Tonight's national title game, Houston and Florida. What happened to the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big 12? I mean, normally there'd be some Midwest, East Coast team, playing for the national title, and it's all Southern. It's a little different than normal.
A little bit, yeah. Although, Duke nearly won.
Yep.
Right? Then you would have an ACC team in there, albeit, kind of a Southern one being from North Carolina. But, but yeah, you had obviously the Florida-Auburn game. You had 2 SEC teams in the Final Four, and that was a tremendous game. It really wasn't decided until probably, I'd say, the last minute maybe, last 2 minutes.
Yep.
When Florida finally pulled away on Saturday evening. And, I think there's a school of thought out there that the schools that have kind of the best NIL money infrastructure stemming in large part from their football programs, which a lot of the SEC programs have, were kind of they were set up to do well in basketball too. If there was the kind of will among the boosters to do so, and LSU was a little late to the party in that regard, but we're seeing LSU now kind of invest more in the men's basketball side in terms of money for players.
Yep,
and it resulted in 5 transfers in the last 8 days.
Yep,
to LSU.
Yep. Brett Martell's with us from the AP. Hey, Brett, UConn upsetting South Carolina, 77-75, 78-77, something like that seemed like a possibility. But UConn just ripped South Carolina and Dawn Staley's team.
Yeah, and they handled UCLA in similar fashion, right?
Yep.
In the semifinals. I think there was a case of, UConn had clearly one of the best players in women's college basketball in Paige Beckers, and she and her entire team were peaking at the right time. And so, I think a lot of people felt like the women's NCAA tournament was ruined in a way when, the USC star Juju,
went down.
Juju Watkins, I think, was hurt. Had the knee injury, and I can understand that sentiment. But I think that the way UConn was playing, they would have beat them too. Because you have USC and UCLA. Those were not blowouts in USC's favor when they played each other, but UConn blew out UCLA, and UCLA was fully healthy. The same team that had knocked out LSU. So UConn was just really, definitely peaking at the right time, and everyone was playing well, and they were locked in, and they were just not going to be denied by anybody, including South Carolina.
Brett, before we move on from hoops, what the Pels have about 5 games left?
Let's see. They play tomorrow night in Brooklyn. I think maybe 4. I want to say they have 2 road games and 2 home games left, I believe.
They got a young core, the future. I don't want to say it looks bright, but the future looks positive with some of these young players. What's going to happen in the offseason? Will Zion Williamson be suiting up in a Pelicans uni come October?
I suspect he will, because they're not going to, his ceiling is still so high that they're not going to trade him unless another team is willing to take the risk on him, because he's been so injury prone.
Right.
There's not a lot of evidence that he's, there's evidence of how good he can be, but there's not evidence that he can be reliable or depended upon to be a transformational figure in a franchise. But
as a fan,
number 1 overall pick.
As a fan, you'd love a team to be like, hey, maybe the injuries are past him. He's what we need to put it over the top. Let's give up a lot and get this guy. I would prefer that almost than hoping he stays healthy and sticks with the Pelicans. It's been 6 years.
I can understand the Zion fatigue on the part of a lot of Pelicans fans. He's been here for 6 years.
Yeah.
He has not played in a single postseason game.
He was drafted last decade. We're in 2025.
Yeah, and it'll be the 25-26 season next season. Yeah, he has not played in a single postseason game. The Pelicans have made the postseason a couple times without him, but they have not won a first-round playoff series in the Zion era, which has included 3 coaches now and could be a 4th by next year. So it's definitely been kind of a star-crossed beginning for him in this franchise. When you think back to the block party they had down there, by what do you call that little pedestrian walkway downtown by the casino hotel?
Fulton Street.
Fulton Street, yeah. Do you remember they had a block party down there?
Yeah.
People were in Pelicans gear and going crazy when Zion was officially drafted.
Yep.
By the Pelicans.
No, he's the consummate number 1 player.
6 years later now, probably half of those people are in your camp and wouldn't mind if they could find a good trading partner for him.
No, exactly. You just got to get that crazy GM that thinks that's it, get fixated on it like a Minnesota Herschel Walker trade with Dallas or Lakers Anthony Davis type of thing, something like that. Brett, hang on a second. We're going to come right back. You were mentioning Saints and, something to generate interest and get the fan base going. I don't know. I just see like the same old car and the Saints but we're putting a new transmission in it. And it's like, it's going to run the exact same as it was before, when the transmission was working right. So still the same old car. Is there enough newness or legitimate hype excitement that's going to draw fans to the black and gold? Brett Martell's with us, a Martell Monday. Corey Johnson with you, 5 o'clock power hour.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint. For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Total maintenance,
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Thoughtful conversation, common sense. Corey Johnson.
With all due respect, Mr. Dennis, I had no idea you've gotten experimental surgery to have your removed.
Live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
What was that? Oh, I said with all due respect.
Hey, if you need a pair of prescription glasses or a great pair of sunglasses, Art and Eyes on Magazine. Google them, Art and Eyes on Magazine. Corey Johnson with you, Monday afternoon edition of the program. Brett Martell's with us, another Martell Mondays with the Associated Press. I mean, Brett, you're a reporter, a journalist, not a marketing person, but you don't lack imagination, and you've covered teams for decades. How do the Saints market this team to attract people? I mean, the only saving grace I could see is just some monster draft where you get like a quarterback or you get that running back from Boise State or something like that. I don't know what's going to stimulate the fan base to get them fired up about this 2025 Saints team. And even if you get a QB with Derek Carr coming back, that QB ain't starting as a rookie. So I'll ask the question to you. How do you get this, fans motivated for this team?
Well, I mean, a young quarterback in the mold of Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart, I think would get fans excited. I don't really know if that's necessarily the answer. If anything, you'd think the Saints would not take a quarterback at number 9 this year. Maybe trade up for one, but
you're saying trade up, like move to like one of the top few spots,
or one of the top 5 or so. But they could stay at number 9 and probably get a really good young offensive lineman or defensive end.
Yep.
And I mean, if they're sticking with Derek Carr this year, he needs to trust his offensive line. I mean, you can see the difference in the kind of ball he throws when he looks comfortable and when he doesn't. When he looks comfortable and Reseach Shaheed is running down the sideline at full speed, Carr can lay it in there for a 55-yard gain on third down or for a touchdown or whatever. When it's third down in the game on the line and he's not comfortable with it, it's a back foot throw that's intercepted or has no chance of being caught. So, that's really kind of what they need. I think they need is either somebody on the offensive line or, to bolster the defensive line after, they've had, let's face it, a couple of first-round busts at defensive end with Marcus Davenport and Peyton Turner. And it's hard to recover from that, but they need to start by hitting on some of these first-round picks. And a lot of these games, as we saw even in the Super Bowl, it really starts, at the line of scrimmage. I mean, a big reason Philadelphia won that game was because of the dominance of their offensive line.
Brett.
And the defensive line, frankly, in that game.
Brett, it's Masters week. Any favorites? What are you thinking for the Masters?
Well, I mean, McIlroy would be an easy pick just because he's looked really competitive most weeks, and he's won a few times already this year.
That'd be great for the Zurich, too, if he wins the Masters.
It would be amazing, to have the defending Masters champion here 2 weeks later.
Yep.
Because obviously he's committed to defend the Zurich Classic title as well.
Yep.
And he's already a huge superstar, so the Zurich Classic doesn't need that, but it would be a neat thing to have. And, other than that, I think the big stars of the Live Golf have been really competitive in the Masters in the last few years. So, you got to look at Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka and those guys be up there and competing. Then I guess, as far as the PGA Tour, it seems like, and Dustin Johnson also from Liv, although I don't know how well he's been doing that lately. As far as the PGA Tour goes, I mean, it seems like a couple of the Asian American players are kind of due. They've been really good and really competitive lately.
Yep. The great thing about the Augusta course, even though they have stretched it to an obnoxiously long length, older golfers that are maybe not really competitive week in, week out on the regular PGA Tour, they can make a move at the Masters. They can do something. You might even have some guy that's on the senior tour that's early 50s that's going to tee it up at the Masters and can make a run, because it's there's a little bit of finesse and knowledge and experience that definitely helps, instead of just grip it and rip it and hope you're hitting the wedge in,
Right. And that's probably what happened the last time Tiger won there too. So, what was that, in 2019?
Yep, I think that's right. I think 19. Yep. Any final thoughts till next week, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, next Monday when we talk, could be very interesting to see what's going on with the Pelicans. I mean, their season finale is at home against Oklahoma City on Sunday, and then Monday, if there's going to be some reshuffling going on, going to be some upheaval, we could be seeing it by Monday.
Yeah, interesting. It doesn't seem like there's going to be, but you never know. I mean, Gail Benson's worth went up $1 billion according to Forbes in the last year with two losing teams. With two losing teams, her value went up $1 billion. So I don't know. I don't know if they stand pat. It seems like they're going to stand pat with, with the Saints organization, with their starting quarterback. They got their new coach in, so they're not doing anything there. And then the Pels, I don't see Griffin or changing coaches or any of that, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, Griffin's been there for 6 years. They could change everything.
No, you're right. We'll see. Brett Martell, always a pleasure. That's Brett from the Associated Press. Joins us every Monday for a Martell Monday. That's Blue Boy barking up a storm. He joins us every afternoon barking, want some kibble, take me on a nice walk. The weather's turning. It's cool outside. Let's go. I'm Frisky. See you tomorrow at 4 in New Orleans.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.